I was cold. Fringe brushed my legs, beads clicked with every breath. In the mirror, a native silhouette stared back. Braids, feathers, paint. I had practiced that reflection.
Black people sold each other as slaves first, and the Europeans just came and exploited that. Is there any truth to that?
Yeah, there is, but it's spun 600 years ago. You would have seen yourself as belonging to your country. I would have seen myself as belonging to my country. And battles take place, like battles would take place in Europe. And whoever gets captured is going to end up prisoners of war. That's not unusual. But the way it's presented is deny that you even had a country, deny that I had a country. So we're now all one group of people called black people. So if we're now battling, well, why are you black people even fighting? You're supposed to be one people. The evolution of slavery, it begins in 1441. Kidnapping is how it began. It was the Portuguese that they realized that they could build slave dungeons. The local ruler on the Ghanaian coast, Kwame Ansah, he was told this was going to be a trading center for goods. He opposed it, but the Portuguese burned his village down. So that's how they were able to build slave dungeons. And then once you now have that, you can now pull even more people out by encouraging battle. One group of Europeans arms your side, another group arms your side, and whoever gets captured is going to end up prisoners of war. And it's only now when some of your people and your people are on the same slave ship that you realize
that's what they were doing. Yeah.
Right. And that's why black people that ended up on slave ships and ended up being sent to North America, South America, Central America, the Caribbean, those were the first to realize we've all been played. That's why these were the first people to become Pan-Africanists.
They try to make it seem like we are some different kind of Negro over here, like our struggle is apart from Africa. I tell you today, our lineage is African. We are Africans in America. We don't need to. Foundational black Americans are not for black people.
Dicen que porque la tengo tatuada piensan que vengo de andar en prisión. Dicen que soy marihuano, un malandro que no tiene perdón de Dios. Dicen que porque le tengo un altar, le hago a la brujería y que doy maldición. Lo que no saben es que cada santita es promesa cumplida, es mi milagro. satisfacción. No es por presumir, tampoco es para espantar, pero tengan cuidado con lo que me van a desear, porque ella me ama y siempre me va a cuidar. Si me ven que prendo velas, no me vayan a juzgar, es porque le agradezco su presencia en mi altar. Gracias, Santita, por tanta abundancia, por darme trabajo, amor, salud y paz.
Let's talk about Santa Muerte offerings and what each offering means. Now, before I start this video, I want to say that I've seen a lot of your comments saying that you don't want to offer Santa Muerte to ask for something in return, that you just want to offer her things out of kindness and out of being grateful. And though I think that is very great, I also think it's important to remember that these offerings do have meanings, and there's a lot of people who want to attract certain things into their life, and I think it's important for myself to teach people what to put on her altar if you're trying to attract something specifically. Now, one offering that is very common in Mexico, but I don't see a lot of people talk about it on TikTok, is cigs or cigars. I'm trying to say it in a way that I won't get, BAN. Now, when it comes to cigs, it is believed that when you offer Santa Muerte one, it is believed that you're supposed to give her one and one for yourself. I also want to start by saying it is not a very crucial offering. Do not force yourself to do it if you have quit, or you're not a smoker, or if you're underage, especially don't do it. But to those who are smokers and offer Santa Muerte cigs, it is believed that one is for her and one is for yourself. It is also believed that this offering destroys any envious energy that you get from your workplace or from your family, because let's be for real, a lot of the time our biggest haters are our family. Now, when it comes to cigars, it is believed that when you blow the smoke on her altar or on her statue, that it repels all negative energy and purifies you and your space. Now let's talk about flowers. I believe that it is important to have flowers on your altar as often as you can because they pay tribute to La Santa Muerte. And paying tribute to her is important because it is believed when you pay tribute to her, she is more likely to answer your petition. Now, it doesn't matter what kind of flowers you get her. You can get her roses, you can get her lilies, you can get her sunflowers. Regardless to what you get her, you are paying tribute to La Santa Muerte so that she answers your petition. Though some flowers do carry certain frequencies like red roses for love, passion, and desire, and white roses for purification. I also forgot to mention that white roses also repel sickness, whether it's physical sickness or spiritual sickness. It is also said that it is better to get flowers from an actual field or somewhere out in nature because it keeps the natural energy on the altar. But for people like me who live in areas where winter happens and it starts snowing where there is no flowers outside, it is okay to get her flowers from the store. But just try to get her flowers from outside in nature when you can and when it is available to you. Now let's talk about incense. When it comes to incense, there are a lot of incense that are popular on the Santa Muerte altar, so I'm going to talk about the most popular. Let's talk about copal. When you burn copal, whether it is in your home or in your workplace, it is believed that it dispels and banishes any negative energy and purifies your space. It is also believed that when you burn this, especially in your place of business, that it opens door for you, acting as a road opener. Another incense that is popular on the Santa Muerte altar and I think is important to have for business owners is sandalwood. Sandalwood is believed to attract economic abundance and prosperity and even attract clientele. Another one you will see a lot on her altar is myrrh. When you burn myrrh incense, it is believed that it banishes hateful and envious energies. Now, I spoke about roses yesterday, but there's also rose incense. Burning rose incense attracts love, passion, and desire. Musk incense is also another one you will see on her altar very often. When it comes to burning musk, it is believed that it dispels and banishes sickness. So when there is sickness in your home, it is best to light a musk incense to dispel away that sickness and to attract health energy. Jasmine is another type of incense you will see on the altar and that is used to attract clientele into your business. Clove, vanilla, and lily incense are also used to attract sentimental energies and loving energies. Now, water, one of the most important offerings to have on the altar. Because just as important as water is in our physical world, it is important for the spiritual world as well. Water on the altar is used to channel different energies, whether it's sentimental energies or other kind of energies. I would even go as far as to say that water even works as a ward. Because through Santa Muerte's altar, we can see when something is going on in our life or if somebody is throwing or hexing us. So water should never, ever, ever be missing from your altar. Bread is another very common offering that I see on the altar, and I think it is one that we should have on there as often as we can put it there. Let's not forget, Mommy is a Catholic folk saint, and one of the many Catholic prayers out there does say, please give us our daily bread. Bread is essential, so when you have it on your altar, it is so that you never lack in anything food-wise. Now, when it comes to fruits, the most common fruit you will see on her altar are apples, specifically red apples. It is believed that fruit on the altar is to dispel any negative and envious energies. It's also important to note that green and yellow apples are given to Santa Muerte to attract money. Chocolates and other candies are also important to have on the altar because they bring sentimental energies and loving energies. So when you want to sweeten your life, candies are a great way to do it. Another way to sweeten your life or even sweeten your relationship with La Santa Muerte is to offer her honey. Drizzling some honey on top of some of the offerings you give her, whether it's bread or fruits, is a great way to do that as well. Alright, the video is getting pretty long and you guys have the attention span of a fucking goldfish, so I'm gonna end it right here. If there is any other offerings you want me to talk about, please comment them down below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Also, if you want to know where I'm getting all this information, it's this Bible right here, La Sagrada Biblia de la Santa Muerte. It's kind of fading right here. But this book right here is very informative, so I would suggest you grab it. And I'm not getting paid to say this, I'm not promoting it. It's genuinely a good fucking book, so that's why I'm suggesting it. I got this book from the Little Botanica here on TikTok. I'll tag them in the comments so you guys could see that I'm not making any money off of this video. I'm just genuinely trying to put you guys onto a good fucking book. I love you guys, bye.
Honor and respect, honor and respect, honor and respect. Divine all blessed greetings and salutations. It is another edition of Revolutionary Hoodoo, New Orleans Voodoo Secrets and Recipes. Powered, produced, promoted, sponsored, and supported by NOIVD, New Orleans International Voodoo Day. Inspired by National Voodoo Day in Benin and led by our local Black community members, New Orleans International Voodoo Day is a day of collective remembrance and spiritual reparation that is preceded by an Afro-ecology exhibit, a symposium, and also includes a procession to the monuments of sites of enslavement in New Orleans, a ritual to account for and seek absolution for the city's and the country's participation in the institution of slavery, homage to those ancestors who suffered through and survived the transatlantic slave trade, and honor and appreciation for the achievements of those who came out of this oppression. 2 days, May 23rd, Saturday, and May 24th, Sunday, 2026, 2 days of education, creative expression, elevation, cultural exchange, and above all, healing. Through authentic voodoo traditions handed down through generations, we offer a path to healing from the ongoing ramifications of slavery and racism in the United States. And through an international partnership, New Orleans International Voodoo Day becomes a major annual event in New Orleans, bringing peace, relief, and healing, and connecting New Orleans with Benin, Haiti, the major points of the transatlantic slave trade, and hubs of voodoo throughout the world, as well as all nations where African traditional religious systems are practiced, and in healing circuit and drawing visitors from around the world. And we continue to show great appreciation for your continued support and participation in this powerful and upcoming and growing event by visiting us at www.voodooday.org. Please do become a participant, a volunteer, a donator, a sponsor, again, by visiting us for more information at www.voodooday.org, VODOUDAY.org. And we're eternally grateful for your continued support and participation of this 9 p.m. U.S. Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday, podcast on a social media outlet near you, certainly by way of Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and by way of our QR code displayed at the upper right corner of your screen. We certainly thank you, our faithful and committed community member Daniel Neal, for your continued support and participation. Greetings to you and yours, Love 1901. We certainly appreciate you. And my beloved godson, Neo Fight Bokur 7693. We certainly do appreciate your continued support and visitation. And we will be unmuting and bringing on our beloved co-hosts and panelists momentarily, the Queen Mother, Sister Toni Val Martinez, community activist, community mother, community agitator, and community educator. Our first priest, Wild Man, Black Hawk, Voodoo Wild Man, and armor bearer of Hoodoo Central LLC, Joshua Nylan. Tanner, also initiated member of La Source and Chien on 4. My godson Tyson Horn, also initiated member of La Source and Chien on 4. Also a committed team member of NOIVD. And our executive producer of Respect the Voodoo. And our beloved elder Reggie, Green Soap, leader and founder of Shrine of the White Cloth, a committed co-administrator of NOIVD. We certainly do appreciate you all's continued support and commitment to this nightly, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time podcast. Your dedication and vocation is not lost on me. I'm certainly thankful for you all. We want to talk tonight, and maybe for a few days, about Santa Muerte, or Holy Death. Santa Muerte is a female skeletal figure venerated primarily in Mexico and among Mexican American communities. Her emergence as a devotional focus reflects profound syncretism, blending Catholic iconology, indigenous Mesoamerican cosmology, and African diasporic magical practice. You may have heard me mention on the occasion once or twice that I've done, a great deal of work as it relates to my own DNA ancestry. And I found to be 1% indigenous to Mexico. But I've always had a connection and a love for Santa Muerte, going back to at least the mid-'80s. The incorporation of Santa Muerte into African American and Afro-Caribbean traditions, such as hoodoo, root work, conjure, and voodoo, exemplifies nuanced cultural adaptation driven by shared principles of spiritual agency, protection, negotiation with the unseen forces. The anthropological and syncretic background of Santa Muerte. The origins of Santa Muerte are associated with the Aztec death goddess, and please forgive my pronunciation, Michitlacacho, Mictecacihuatl, as well as Spanish Catholic personifications of death, or La Parca. She embodies death and transformation. In the African diasporic traditions brought by the enslaved peoples, Voodoo in Haiti, Santeria in Cuba, Palo Monte Mayombe in Cuba, Obia in the Caribbean, share ancestry in West African cosmologies of Yoruba, Fan, Ewe, and the like, and venerate ancestral spirits and those who inhabit the realms of the dead with ritualized herbal, mineral, and symbolic practices. So syncretic mechanisms of these traditions and practices include Catholic saint imagery, especially iconography of the Virgin Mary, merges with African and Afro-Indigenous deities. Santa Muerte's colors correspond to specific petitions: white for purity and cleanliness, red for love and activation, yellow for prosperity and wealth, black for protection and defense, and offensive magic. And similar to the color-coded ritual applications of orishas, for example, in Santeria, or Loa in Vodou, ritualized offerings, candles, and prayers create a shared spiritual economy with hoodoo and root work practices. There is a well-documented integration into hoodoo, root work, and conjure with Santa Muerte. Hoodoo, root work, and conjure as a framework, these African American traditions are primarily magical systems, not exactly religions, emphasizing practical results of love, justice, protection, prosperity, sometimes even control, and ritual implements as roots, herbs, stones, oils are analogous to Santa Muerte rituals, employing candles, amulets, and symbolic offerings. Santa Muerte acts as a folk saint with specialized powers, fitting into the hoodoo conceptual schema of invoking spirits for tangible outcomes. I also found a amalgamation, syncretization, and in correlation in uniquely and specifically to what's going on right now, Venezuela, and the practice of Maria Leonza, which is centered around a either Creole or lighter skinned female goddess deity with a African deity and icon to one side, and an indigenous or aboriginal or an Indios icon to the other side. And again, operating from roots, herbs, stones, oils, burning candles, amulets, trance possession, even to create manifestations of healing, wellness, prosperity, to fix, change, repair, and bring about a reality that best mirrors our interests. There are many rituals in terms of parallel across the Pan-African magical spiritual diaspora. Certainly protection spells are mirrored in hoodoo's protective mojo bags and consecrated stones. Prosperity rituals correspond with hoodoo money drawing operations using herbs, coins, silver, etc. Love rituals similar to hoodoo marriage or love spells, often using colored candles and petitions, and certainly ritual timing, night, dusk, seasons, ritual days according to the sun calendar or the lunar calendar, mirrors that emphasize an auspicious timing and spiritual receptivity in conjure. Integration into voodoo of Santa Muerte. There's a great deal of voodoo compatibility when we consider the great family of Gede, Baron Samedi, Papa Gede, and the many other members that inhabit that family of the dead and ancestors, if you will. Voodoo or Vodou involves a pantheon of spirits or loa, mediated via ritual ceremonies, music, and dance. And Santa Muerte is often analogized to Ma'am Bridget, who oversees death ceremonies in transition in partnership with Baron Samedi, or to Oya, the Orisha and goddess of storms and the underworld in Yoruba traditions like Santeria, creating a conceptual bridge of Afro-Caribbean practitioners. There is ritual incorporation, altars set up with offerings, candles, protective figurines in Haitian and New Orleans voodoo can include Santa Muerte alongside conical loa and even statuary of Marie Laveau. And her imagery provides a syncretic focal point of mourning, ancestral veneration, or intercession, aligning with voodoo's animistic and ancestral sensibilities. There is certainly transatlantic and cultural dynamics to the practice that resonate in the African diasporic traditions. Shared values, navigating marginalization, seeking protective intersection, empowering historically oppressed communities, The sacred agency in Hoodoo and Santa Muerte devotion allows practitioners to negotiate justice and survival in their material lives. There is cultural adaptation and expansion with Santa Muerte cults into the United States during the late 20th and early 21st centuries, parallel the spread of African diasporic spiritual practices in urban centers like New Orleans. And hybrid rituals blend Mexican, folk, Catholic, African American hoodoo, and African Caribbean voodoo frameworks, highlighting fluidity rather than rigid orthodoxy. Santa Muerte thus exemplifies the trans-cultural exchange between Mesoamerican, Spanish Catholic, and African diasporic religion and magical systems. And within hoodoo, root work, conjure, and voodoo, she functions as both a syncretic mediator and potent magical agent, adaptable to ritual, ethical, and personal context needs of practitioners. And as I ask my beloved co-hosts and panelists to please begin to unmute your mic, I'm going to offer 4 books that you may reference as it relates to this multidisciplinary perspective, which demonstrates that Santa Muerte is not only a folk saint, but also a dynamic node in transnational, transcultural spiritual networks, seamlessly integrated into African American and Afro-Caribbean magical systems. The first of the 4 books, Jessica Kendrick, Kindrick, Jessica Kendrick, titled The African Roots of La Santa Muerte, 2013. The second book, R. Andrew Chestnut, the title, Devoted to Death, Santa Muerte, The Skeleton Saint, 2012. There's certainly some helpful, useful information at conjuredoctors.com, what is hoodoo, conjure, and root work, and Lady Hearted Apothecary, the difference between hoodoo and voodoo. And certainly, and not leastly, I want to acknowledge and remind you that we have a large selection and variety of Santa Muerte statuary and supplies available at the Isle of Salvation Botanica or the Island of Salvation Botanica, located at 2372 St. Claude Avenue on the ground floor as you come in the main entrance, Suite 100 in New Orleans, here in the city. And we certainly appreciate your patronage and your support. Now, please, beloved Queen Mother, Sister Toni Val Martinez, do unmute your mic and come on in. Our beloved brother Joshua Nylan Tanner, please do come on in. He might share some black masking and skull and bone correlations to this subject and topic. Tyson Horn, please do unmute and come on in. And our beloved Elder Reggie, please do unmute your mic and come on in. How you doing?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing? I'm not very familiar with this subject. I really don't do altars except for my ancestor altar. So I really don't look into them too much. I've only seen Santa Muerto in movies, some very good movies, where they actually practiced her, and listening to y'all, they actually did it correct, how they did it. But I pass this on to someone else who may have a little more understanding and information on this subject. Elder Reggie?
I can.
Yeah, go ahead, Brother Joshua. Go forward. I don't have much to add. I don't.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was just going to just chime in on the origins of this Santa Muerte and Santa Muerte. This is something I was doing some research on. I had been doing research on, and I just wanted to share about Santa Muerte, the Holy Death. They're not. I mean, this. How can I say it? It's actually by the Catholic Church. Is actually Santa Muerte is not considered like a proper saint. I guess you want to say, for the lack of terminology, but it's more like a folk saint. It's just similar to like how Maria Leonze is. So it's like a saint that actually is specifically kind of leans more towards the indigenous roots of the practice itself. It does have blends of it reflects it was something that was utilized to mask their representation of a lot of ancient roots, um, like Divine Prince had mentioned in terms of the Aztecs, them worshiping the Lady of the Dead. Was I don't want to mess up that name, but that name he spelled out MictecacIhuatl. Um, who this god actually within that religion, within the Aztec culture, this god ruled the underworld and was responsible for guarding the bones of the deceased. Um, and unlike the European view of death, ending for a punishment, the Aztecs saw the death as a necessary part of cycle of life and of rebirth. And the indigenous peoples, they utilized that for that purpose, and I think that's how Santa Muerte is continuing to be used in the now and the present, and it continues to grow. I did see that this actually Santa Muerte is one of the fastest growing religions um, in the West and in the world, actually, since uh, the first public shrine was established in 2001. Following has grown from a localized hidden tradition into a global phenomenon, which estimated to be around 12 million followers as of this year. And there's multiple reasons for that, because that Santa Muerte represents it's like a crisis saint that that was utilized a lot of times within during the pandemic for the COVID-19. Santa Muerte was utilized to help heal and help uh, be called upon for strength and for rebirth throughout those times. Um, and uh, just the radicalness of the nature of Santa Muerte, representing it's a it's a saint, but it's not a saint that specifically just that kind of lends towards the indigenous roots in the medicine, and not towards specifically the saints of like Saint Jude, which is one that the Catholic Church that's similar to the it's something similar to how Saint Morte operates within that space, but Saint Morte is
Yeah.
Santa
It's
Morte.
also been sort of absorbed in other symbolism and practices. Certainly,
Right.
it's how the skeleton ended up in Halloween,
Yeah.
in the first place.
Right.
It's also reflected in the practices and the traditions of Day of the Dead, All Saints and All Souls Day, November 1st and 2nd. And certainly in Louisiana voodoo and Haitian voodoo, we acknowledge, again, Gede, Baron, Ma'am Bridget, which is very akin to the female skeletal figure of Santa Muerte that you see in Mexican culture, particularly the sugar uh, uh, dolls and artwork that's created with the female skeletal figure, often dressed up in sort of a traditional Mexo colonial style dress. Ma'am Bridget, whether it's in Haitian voodoo or Louisiana voodoo, is often sort of depicted in a very similar fashion. So the practice, the spirit, the energy is been appropriated and syncretized, and is literally everywhere around us, above and beyond any, as both you and um, as you mentioned, beyond the sort of the Catholic symbolism, it does take on a more indigenous, aboriginal context once we really peel away the multi-layered demonstration of it.
Yep. That is correct. And I definitely looking at this is kind of really the phenomena that's happening from the pandemic. It's really taking on a life of its own. The things that we've been facing in the world. I know you mentioned, I forgot what you mentioned, the event that you mentioned earlier on, but I was thinking about the use of Santa Morte for like calling for injustice or helping to fight, battles that, unfair treatment, unfair punishment by legal systems and the police or whatever it may be. I was thinking about what just happened in Minneapolis with that young lady that got killed by ICE. Like events like that, like we're starting to see these events starting to happen more and more and more, and Santa Morte is utilized to help bring uh, uh, a justice within those realms of events like that, and to help solidify and bring back a balance. A lot of times people look at the Santa Morte, the depiction of it is a woman with a skull, and it just looked very, I guess you could say, uh, like dark in a way, but it's not really. Santa Morte is not considered to be like a dark at all. It actually, you can use it for both. Dark, whatever you. It's a multi-purpose and multi-use, depending on what you're feeding it and what you're giving it and what you're calling it upon to do. It could bring peace. It could bring money. It could bring many different things, and justice. And so it's a very sought after thing nowadays, especially with what's happening in the world and the events that's occurring around us, man. So I would say that, man, if you guys are interested in reading up more about that, I would encourage you to do so. Also, and like Ty said, that we have I don't know how many statuettes we have, but we've got a massive delivery from Mexico of those Santa Muerte statues in the island of Salvation of Botanica that you can view. Some of them have scales, some of them have like like pit bulls, chain. It's very, very beautiful statuettes that's there. So go there and check them out and see if or check them out or go there. There's written materials there too also that you can probably get that actually give you more information too also there. They have a plethora of books and texts that you can actually get more information on Santa Muerte.
Do they also celebrate her when they celebrate the Day of the Dead? Is she represented?
Yes, that's what I was just describing. All Saints Day, All Saints Day, certainly Day of the Dead at the Healing Center on November 1st. She's a central figure in many hoodoo, voodoo, and Haitian voodoo practices, just under a not so Spanish name, or under other sort of symbolism and iconography. So yeah, she's a central participant in Day of the Dead ceremonies and practices here in the city, but also throughout the New World. And we're certainly always thankful and appreciative of everyone's participation and support. Certainly those who listen from our Facebook pages, my page, Sister Toni Val Martinez page, the Elder Reggie's Shrine of the White Cloth page. We certainly appreciate your continued participation and support. Certainly, thank you for listening in and participating from LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter X, and Instagram. Thank you so much to our Instagram participants, certainly those who show up every night, but we're thankful and appreciative of you all. MIHHJ202, we certainly appreciate you. Tindandin Zambi, we certainly appreciate you. Mokwaleki, thank you so much for coming through. We appreciate you. Jay Rose, thank you for coming through. Honey Prick 3, thank you for coming through. Stacy Muhammad, we certainly are grateful for your participation and support. Blue Kalu, thank you for coming through. Treat Merema, I hope I said that right. Thank you for coming through. Nine Suzraza, thank you so much for coming through. Pablo Art Malik, thank you for coming through, regular listener. A Tribe Called Tyler, thank you for coming through again. Jack, I think that's Jack Black or Jack, JACQLBC joined again. We appreciate you. And King Queenie 1 joined. Thank you so much. And again, we invite your listenership and participation Monday through Fridays at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on a platform near you or by way of our QR code in the top right corner of your screen. Thank you so much, and take it over, Elder Reggie.
Read the advertisement. The new moon ritual prayer application ceremony will occur on the new moon, Sunday, January the 18th, time 6:30 p.m. in the Zodiac of Capricorn. Location, 710 Cluid Street. It's going to be a ritual of spiritual warfare and gathering, which is needed at this time. As Brother Joshua said, the event that's unfolding today in Minnesota. We have a large selection and a variety of Santa Muerte statuaries available at the Island of Salvation, Botanica, and that location is 2372 St. Claude Avenue, Suite 100 in the New Orleans, Louisiana. February the 16th is Fat Tuesday, Almighty Gras. Yay. With that, I say, lest we forget, the spiritual medicine of voodoo brings healing and relief from the shackles of slavery that binds the master and the slave to the same chain of social division. We continue to have work to do. With that, I say, Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Good night, everyone. We love you all. And we'll be back tomorrow. And I hope to do some research and study so I can participate.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you kindly, Elder Reggie. Thank you, Mother Toni. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Santa Muerte, also known as Saint Death, is a folk saint and deity that has gained significant popularity in Mexico and parts of Latin America. Despite not being recognized or endorsed by the Catholic Church, Santa Muerte has amassed a large following, particularly among marginalized communities. The origin of Santa Muerte can be traced back to indigenous beliefs in Mesoamerica, where death was revered as a natural part of life. With the arrival of Spanish colonization and Catholicism, the syncretism of indigenous and Catholic beliefs gave rise to the figure of Santa Muerte. In the early 20th century, Santa Muerte started to gain popularity among criminals and those involved in illicit activities who sought her protection and favor in their dangerous undertakings. However, the devotion to Santa Muerte diversified over time and expanded beyond these circles, attracting a broader range of followers seeking help in various aspects of life. Santa Muerte is often portrayed as a skeletal figure representing death and is depicted in various forms. Each form is associated with specific areas of influence, such as love, prosperity, protection, or justice. Devotees often offer prayers, candles, flowers, and other offerings to Santa Muerte to seek assistance and blessings. The rise of Santa Muerte devotion has sparked controversy, with critics viewing it as a form of idolatry or worshipping an entity associated with criminality. Nevertheless, Santa Muerte continues to gain followers and has become an integral part of the cultural and religious landscape in Mexico and parts of Latin America. It's important to note that while Santa Muerte is associated with death, it is not a figure of evil or malevolence. The belief in Santa Muerte often stems from a desire for protection, guidance, and comfort, particularly for those facing difficult circumstances or marginalized in society. If there are any specific characters you would like to know about, please let me know in the comments section.